You do not have to buy trends to look good. I don't think you will look good if you go out there and you buy every single trend that you see. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin if you're new here, and I am so excited to be filming today's video. I know I say that for pretty much every video that I do nowadays, but this is actually only the second video that I've sat down and filmed this year, which you probably know if you are already a subscriber of mine. I have not been doing great on the uploading here, and just a quick little catch-up session right here. It's because I took about 3 weeks off of posting on Instagram and YouTube. I'm back now, I'm consistent again, and I'm consistent on my blog and Pinterest as well. Links to everything will be in the description down below. But while I was away, I was trying to figure out why I was so unhappy with most of my content. And it's because I realized that I was working on pieces of content that I thought would be popular because other people were doing them, especially when it comes to Instagram. And I realized that a lot of the things that I was talking about on YouTube were things that I'm not super passionate about. And so I decided, you know what, I did a little bit of a rebrand. It might not look that different to you, but hopefully if you go ahead and follow me over on my Instagram, and if you subscribe down below and keep up with me, you'll start to see the difference. Basically, I'm gonna delve a lot more into my own personal style, not like selfishly, like not only talking about myself and my style, but as in I'm going to be very careful about not, consuming trends that are not for me, that I don't like. I'm really a lot more careful about making sure that every single piece of content is something that I'm proud of and that I want to create, and not something that I feel like the algorithm wants to see. So I hope that that ends up being a good decision at the end of the day. I think it will be, because already I've only been back on social media for about 2 weeks, and I've been getting so many comments, so many messages and things of support of people being like, wow, I really like what you're talking about. And I'm definitely going to be going in more of a fashion direction. Really quickly, if you are new here, like I said, my name is Caitlin, and on this channel and on all of my social media platforms, I focus on fashion, specifically luxury and feminine fashion, elegant style. I also talk a lot about travel, specifically right now in the Southern California area, but I will be having a few other fun trips coming up this year and in the future. And I also talk about ways to just live your best life, how to have, an elevated, beautiful luxury lifestyle, even if you do not have the luxury money on hand, because I know that I certainly am not in that position right now. So if that sounds good to you, please go ahead and subscribe down below. And like I said, follow me on my Instagram. But where I'm going with all this is be prepared to see upcoming on my channel. I'm going to be talking more about fashion news. I'm going to be talking more about things like trends, and a lot more just really delving into fashion. For those who do not know, I actually went to college and I studied fashion merchandising, and I am extremely passionate about fashion merchandising, fashion history, fashion trends, like the fashion industry. And even though I'm kind of removed from it now, where I am sitting in my office here in Southern California, it is something that is so easily accessible to all of us now, even if you've never had a fashion education before. And it really is something that makes my heart sing. And I know a lot of you guys are the same way. So again, please stay tuned for this very slight, but very intentional rebrand on all of my social media channels, and subscribe if all of that sounds good to you. Now let's jump into the video. If you've been a subscriber of mine before, you'll know that I've done quite a few trend videos like this before, and I love making these videos. I do love fashion trends. I do appreciate how fashion trends are necessary to keep fashion exciting and to keep the fashion cycle moving. But I always say in all of these videos, you do not have to wear trends to look good. In fact, I highly discourage that you go out there and you buy every single trend that you see. It is not a philosophy that I partake in. I feel like right now the fashion industry and just the social media sphere in fashion is in the grips of like TikTok trends and different cores, cottage core, Pearlcore, which I'll tell you about in a second, coquette core, all these different things. There's all these aesthetics. People are consuming clothes, like wearing them one time and throwing them out like a week later, and just please do not partake in that. Another thing that I want to say is that this is not going to be all of the trends that are in spring. I feel like every time I do one of these videos, I always get comments or like Instagram DMs of people being like, you missed this trend, like how could you miss this trend? It's because I can't talk about every single trend. We'd have like 30 trends and we'd be here for like an hour and a half. And I actually did do a blog post that I'll link down below. I just posted it this morning, and I don't think I've ever done a blog post that has made me feel so happy inside. I love every single trend in that blog post that I will be talking about here as well. And if you see any trends in this video and you're like, oh my gosh, I really like that, like what are some pieces that I could get to participate in this trend? One of the things that I do in all of my trend blog posts is I link a bunch of pieces that fall into the trend that I really like. And I'm assuming if you're on my channel, your style overlaps with mine in some way. So please go ahead and check out that blog post. It would mean the absolute world to me if you could, because I worked really hard on it and I'm so happy with how it turned out. And that's all I have to say for this intro, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first trend that we're going to talk about, I mentioned before, and that is Pearlcore, aka pearls on everything. And I've been seeing pearls a lot since spring of last year. I don't know if you remember, but the Vivienne Westwood pearl necklace was so popular last year, and I really think that is kind of what got the trend started. Pinterest actually released a report recently. They actually do this every year, and I just found out about it and I love it. They do like a trend forecast, because for those who don't know, Pinterest is like at the forefront of being able to identify fashion trends. It's actually really interesting. So I would totally recommend looking at like their little trend forecasting site. All you have to do is Google like Pinterest Pearlcore, and the first link that comes up should be the trend forecast report on Pearlcore, obviously. And they credit the beginning of this trend with this look from the Met Gala, I believe last year. I'm hoping I'm saying the actress's name right, Barbie Faria? I know that she's on Euphoria, so she's definitely having a moment right now, and she looks amazing in this look over here. But I really think that a combination of like the cottagecore trend slash like just the overall feminine fashion trend, because cottagecore is technically over in my opinion, but just the feminine fashion, the girly fashion that we've been seeing a lot lately ever since the pandemic, the kind of like romantic escapist fashion. I've just been seeing pearls on everything. So I would say pearls are especially popular right now on accessories. So for those who don't know, you've never been here before, if you have not seen this bag that I own, I'll put a picture of me wearing it here on the side. I have this wonderful shrimps bag. It's called the Antonia bag. It's all pearls. Probably the best $700 I've ever spent in my life. It was actually just in my last video, which was my 2020 favorites video. Love that bag so much. There's definitely a lot of pearl shoes that are on my wish list, and you could also expect to see pearls decorating makeup, so I feel like that's a bit of a Euphoria thing as well, like the little pearl details around the eyes. I have been seeing pearls a lot on nails lately, and this is just a little prediction of mine as well, but I believe that ever since Bridgerton season 1 was released, it had a really big impact on fashion. Not necessarily directly, obviously we didn't all start wearing like empire waist gowns for courting gentlemen in, but I really do believe that because Bridgerton season 2 is about to be released in like 2 to 3 weeks now, I am so excited. Let me know in the comments down below if you're excited for Bridgerton season 2. But Bridgerton season 1 definitely had a lot of pearl tones, not necessarily actually pearl accessories. I did see a few here and there when I was doing my research, but I really think that, you know, the whole romantic thing, like the old world classic romantic thing, goes hand in hand with pearls. So if you already have pearls in your closet, even if it's just jewelry, obviously I haven't even mentioned like just wearing pearl jewelry, I would say go ahead and pull it out. I'm lucky to already be a huge fan of pearls, so this is one that I didn't have to go and buy anything for. I just already had it in my closet. But if you're unsure, if you think that pearls are a little bit too old maybe, or they make you look a little bit old, I totally disagree. I also think that pearl buttons are gonna be really big, so keep your eye out for all things pearl. The world is your oyster. Okay, I'm sorry about that one. The second trend that I want to talk about, I have written here, I'm just gonna say it exactly how I have it written down in my notes. It is big ass bows. Don't love swearing on my YouTube channel, but there's really just no other way to say it. Bows have been everywhere, and like I said, they are huge. I seriously mean like bows that are like this big, like huge bows. I love this trend. I don't actually own anything to reflect this trend myself, but I do have a dress that I've had my eye on ever since I first saw it in like January of this year. I'll put a picture of it here on the side. It is just stunning, and I know that this is probably going to be a trend that goes like that compared to some of the other ones I have on this list, but in my opinion, bows are a classic. They are obviously going to be used to like cinch in dresses, which is a look that I really love. I just think that there's something about them that is so feminine and so elegant, and I know that like the really big bows are definitely not a classic, but if you already have a very feminine style, I think that it's something that you could easily get away with. Out of every single trend, I like to tell you, if you have an event coming up, this is what I would wear if you want to buy something new. So out of all of the trends in this video, if you have an event coming up and you need a new piece, I would recommend finding something, if it is your style, that's got a huge bow either on the front or the back. I've been seeing tops, mostly tops and dresses in this trend. So if you are interested in finding a piece that has a huge ass bow, a big ass bow on it, again, please go ahead and check out my blog down below. I'm not really sure what else there is to say about this trend. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I have a ton of pieces linked on my blog, and all of them just make my heart sing. I want to buy them all, but I am definitely gonna only limit myself to buying one piece from this trend. So like I said, check out the blog, and if you do wear a dress or a top with a huge bow on it and you happen to post it on social media, I would love for you to tag me. That would just make me so happy, because I just love seeing this trend. Every time I see it, it makes me really happy. This next trend is actually kind of a big one. It encompasses quite a lot of different clothing items, and that is all things ballet or ballet fashion. And ballet fashion has been kind of coming in and out of popularity, I honestly want to say since like the 2010s with like ballet flats, but something that we've been seeing a lot lately, and for the millionth time, I really think this ties in very well with like classic romanticism that we've been seeing a lot throughout fashion lately. So I'm talking tights, silk skirts, like the wrap silk skirts specifically, wrap cardigans, ballet flats like I said. I've also seen ballet flats that have like ribbons that go up the ankle, which I think are so pretty. I actually don't own any ballet flats right now, but I believe I have a collaboration coming up with a brand soon. They said that they've sent me a pair of ballet flats, and I think they're held up in the mail right now, but I definitely will be featuring them in an upcoming spring haul, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Another piece that I think works really well with this trend is catsuits and bodysuits. I'm not really a huge fan of catsuits, even though I know they're very popular right now, but I do love a good bodysuit. I'm someone who likes to tuck my shirt into my pants, whatever is going on, or my skirt, and I think that bodysuits are such a clean way of doing that. It means that you don't get any like weird, unnecessarily like bulky fabric around your midsection, which is something that happens to me quite a bit if I don't, well, this is a cropped sweater, but because I'm only 5'4", my torso is pretty short, so I would highly recommend bodysuits. Even just simple bodysuits, like as you could imagine, like a ballet leotard. And when I'm saying ballet fashion, I'm not meaning all at once. Like I don't think I've ever seen like someone walking around the street or like on social media in like a leotard, a tulle skirt, tights, ballet flats, and a bun. Like that you're just going to ballet, like good for you. But I'm talking about like hints here and there of ballet fashion. Actually, I don't have this in my notes, but it just occurred to me. I honestly feel like the whole slicked back bun thing, like low bun thing, I've been doing it a lot. I feel like that kind of ties in to the whole ballet fashion really nicely, because I believe that's like the standard look for ballerinas, you know, the slick back, middle part, low bun. So yeah, I really do like this trend. I don't think it's as in your face as the other trends that I'm talking about in this video, but I think it's probably the easiest one to incorporate into your wardrobe. And it's fun because if you don't like catsuits or like any part of this trend, there's other pieces from this trend that you probably either already have or that you do like. So I would highly recommend thinking about adding a little bit of ballet flair to your wardrobe this season. This next trend is going to be our big shoe trend of the season. I feel like I always try to cover a shoe trend because I love shoes. I always try to do a shoe trend and a bag trend. Bag trend's up next. But anyway, shoe trend. I'm not going to talk about platforms. Like I said, I do love the look of the big platforms that are going on right now. If you are completely unaware of what I'm talking about, that's okay, but I'll put a photo here on the side just in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Like I said, I did talk about platforms in my last trends video, and I did talk about it in my last trend article on my blog as well. So if you're curious about my recommendations for platforms, I will link Again, my blog's linked down below. Just click on the fashion heading on the top of my blog and then you'll see my last trend report. I think it's a great trend. I'm not going to participate in it just because I feel like it's going to be like that. It's going to come and go. It is really cute, but it's not my style. It's also insanely flattering. But anyway, the trend that I do want to talk about is kitten heels, but specifically pointed toe slingbacks. And I think these look so good. I really do. I think they look phenomenal. I think that they are very easy to walk in, much easier than the platforms that are everywhere right now on social media. And if you don't believe me, if you're like, I haven't seen any kitten heels, it's probably because platforms have just taken over right now. Like platform sneakers, platform boots, platform mules, whatever. But I promise you, just as much as there are platforms right now that are really big, these little kitten heels are just as popular. I think the people just are not noticing them as much. Like I haven't seen them in very many trend reports, but I've seen them all over the runways, like every single runway. I'm putting pictures up here on the side to show you how many pointed toe slingback heels there are on the runway right now. It's just because their presence is much subtler than the platforms. But I love these. Like I said, they're comfortable. I think they're super flattering. I used to think that pointed toes were like a very like 80s look, and they kind of are. Maybe I'm getting that wrong, but I've noticed that they make someone who's shorter like myself, like you just looked so long when you're wearing pointed toes. I think it's very flattering, as long as it's not like the crazy like Balenciaga knife point. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Those were a moment. But I would highly recommend checking these out if you are looking for heels for like your next thing that you need heels for, and you want them to be fashion forward and on trend, but you don't want to do the platforms, and maybe you're not super great at walking in heels. I don't love heels. I love the way they look, hate the way they feel. So this is something that I would highly recommend. I also think that slingback heels like this are a classic, so you won't be wasting money if you decide to invest in a pair. Okay, now for the bag trend of the season, and that is heart-shaped bags. It's a bit of a tongue twister, and I think these are a bit of a fad, but honestly, I feel like the bag trends have not really changed much within the last 6 months or so. I feel like the same bags are still popular. There are a few brands that are really trying to throw certain bag silhouettes into our face through influencers. Dior, sorry, something in my throat. Anyway, I hate the Dior vibe. I hate it. Dior is probably my favorite designer in the world, but the Dior vibe, man. Stop trying to make the Dior vibe happen. You know what I mean? Anyway, so if you're like, Caitlin, heart-shaped bags, that's kind of weird. Yeah, I know they're not for everyone. I think they're so cute. I will never buy one, but if I was like a multi-millionaire and I could have like a huge bag collection, yes, I'd have like 5 heart bags because I really like them. They do put a smile on my face every single time that I see them. Something I will say is this is a trend that has a lot of really great lower priced versions. Like we've all seen like the Louis Vuitton, that sounded so bad, the Louis Vuitton bag. We've also seen the Prada one, the Moschino one, but there have been a lot of, like I said, lower price but still really high quality heart-shaped bags. Like Kate Spade has done one. I think Furla might be the brand that I've seen a lot as well. You could also probably find these on like Amazon Fashion, and I think this is a really fun bag. I would say only buy it if you think that you'll wear it beyond just the season. That's probably my advice for any trend. Again, I don't like shopping trends just to wear for one season, but like I said before, that's the only real change that I've seen in the whole bag trend scene lately. I feel like that probably is because of the massive price hikes that have been going on with like luxury bags right now, so people are kind of not consuming them as quickly as they used to. So that's another reason why this trend is so great, because like I said, there are plenty of versions of it that are really cute, just simply like so sweet, like makes my heart pound, no pun intended, but at a much less expensive price. So definitely check this trend out if you are interested. Now on to the print trend of the season, and that would be gingham. And I know that that is so gingham for spring. Groundbreaking! Like, I know. I only actually have one gingham piece in my wardrobe. It is this like gingham skirt that I've actually posted on Instagram recently. But the gingham that I'm talking about is, what is this? The gingham that I'm talking about is not like the more summery like picnic gingham, not like the black and white and the red and white, though we have been seeing a lot of black and white gingham like on Michael Kors. I know there was a lot of black and white gingham. The word gingham is starting to sound weird in my mouth, so if it's coming out weird, I'm so sorry. But the gingham that I'm talking about specifically is like more colorful and light. So we've been seeing like green on green gingham where it's like 2 different variations of the color green, pink, purple like the one I have, even orange on orange gingham. One downside about this trend I will say though, actually 2 downsides. Number 1 is that it can make you look quite young because it is like a somewhat, I don't want to say childish, but it's like a light and young print. So I would recommend pairing it with something that elevates it a little bit. So I like to wear my gingham skirt. I'm looking at it right now. It's hanging up on my clothing rail. I like to wear my gingham skirt with like a matching light purple cardigan and kind of elevate it with some heels. I mean, maybe that doesn't sound super elevated fashion wise, but just, you know what I mean? Like it's something that could easily make you look like a little kid, especially if you are like maybe out of your 20s at this point. So do be careful with that. Not that you cannot dress younger than you are. I have no qualms about that. But the other thing that I want to say that is a downside of this is that gingham is definitely something that a lot of fast fashion retailers have really held on to because it is a pretty inexpensive way to make a piece look really, really fun, and fast fashion retailers tend to be a lot about fun right now. And so please be careful where you're getting your gingham pieces from because typically it's made in a very light fabric. So I feel like if you go for a gingham piece from a fast fashion website, it is probably more likely to be a really cheap quality piece. I hope I'm making sense. I hope that makes sense. The gingham skirt that I have that I posted the picture of before, I believe I got on ASOS, and yes, ASOS is a fast fashion website, but I've had that skirt for like 3 years now and it has done amazingly for me. It's in great shape. So just, you know, use your own best judgment about getting a high quality gingham piece if you think that it is something that could be, if you think that it's something that is your style and that you'll wear beyond just the season. Actually, something I do want to say is I have a top coming in the mail that I just ordered last week from Abercrombie & Fitch. Stay tuned, subscribe down below. I'm doing a big spring haul probably within the next 3 weeks or so, depending on how quickly everything arrives to my house. And I just ordered the cutest top in pink gingham, and it was a bit more on the pricey side. I think it was $60. But apparently Abercrombie & Fitch's quality is fire right now, for lack of a better term, and I really truly do love the top. So definitely check out Abercrombie & Fitch if they have any more gingham pieces. I'll link the one that I picked up down below, or no, it'll be linked on my blog. It's definitely linked on my blog, so check that out. The color of the season, in my personal opinion, is lilac, and if you're on my Instagram right now, you're probably like, of course she said lilac, or lavender, just like a light purple. And yes, I am very biased towards this color. I love lilac for like early spring. I think it's a really great way, I think it's a really great color to incorporate into a winter wardrobe as it starts warming up to like bring it into the spring season. Because I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, my winter wardrobe is a lot of like whites and blacks. And out of all the spring colors, you know, pink, purple, green, blue, those are like the spring colors, yellow in my opinion. I feel like lilac is just such, it's a very cohesive thing to add into your wardrobe if you live somewhere where you are changing your wardrobe with the seasons. But to legitimize my claim that lilac is the color of the season, the Pantone color of the year is actually Very Perry, which I'll put a photo up somewhere on the screen. And before you go into the comments and correct me, I know that periwinkle and lilac are different shades of purple, like periwinkle is more blue, but I do think that there's probably a correlation between the two because Pantone, for those who are not familiar, is like an authority on colors and color mixing and color predictions and all that stuff, color trend predictions, and every single year that they guess the color of the year, they always get it right. It always shows up in interior design and fashion. And so even though I feel like the shades that we've been seeing on the runway definitely lean more towards a warmer lilac than more of a cooler periwinkle, I definitely think that there is a correlation between the two. And like I said, lilac is just such a good transitional spring color. I also think it's a color that looks good on everyone. So if you're someone who's like, oh, you know, I'm not really into the more feminine spring colors, then I would try lilac. If you're thinking about adding a little color to your spring wardrobe and you don't really have any, lilac looks great with jeans, it looks great with skirts, it looks great as a dress, it looks great as a blouse. Like, it's just such a nice color. It looks great with white. There were definitely other colors that were also popular on the runways, but I feel like none of them really caught my eye as much as the consistency with which I was seeing the color lilac, lavender, light purple, however you want to say it. So let me know down below what you think about lavender, lilac, purple. I can't get enough of it. It's will always be a spring favorite for me, so definitely try it if you haven't yet. And that is the end of the spring trends. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end of this video. I am trying to be a lot more concise with what I'm saying. Obviously, I do like to interject my personality into my YouTube videos, but I think part of the reason why I started feeling so overwhelmed with my content, aside from the fact that I wasn't happy with the actual content of the content, hence the rebrand that I've been working on, is because it got to the point where I was filming YouTube videos and I would have like more than an hour and a half of footage for a simple sit down video like this. It's because I was not focused, I wasn't enjoying what I was talking about, and it would be a nightmare. It would take me like 8 to 12 hours to edit, and then I would just never edit it, and then I would never upload, and it just snowballed into a huge break from YouTube, which makes me sad because I do love this space. I love talking about things that I enjoy. I love talking about things that we enjoy together in the comments down below. So thank you again for watching to the end. Please let me know down below what you thought of the video, if you love any of these trends, if you hate any of these trends, if you want to remind me about a trend that I missed that I promise you I know about, I just chose not to talk about today. Like I said, for the millionth time, it would mean the world to me if you could check out my blog and see some of the pieces that I specifically linked or suggested for you guys to wear to correlate to any of these trends. And if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe down below if you like the vibe here, if you like the idea of moving more into a fashion space, talking more about fashion, current events, fashion history, fashion pieces, what's actually worth your money, all that good stuff. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a wonderful spring fashion season, and I will see you on the next video.